Welcome back everyone for an exciting retro restore where we're going to try to figure out why this Super Scope 6 does not work. Now I have my own personal Super Scope 6 and mine works and I was able to test this sensor does work, but we'll go over all that stuff really fast before we dive into this beast right here. Now one of the most important things you need for Super Scope 6 is one of these beasts. You need one of these nice old tube TVs because it will not work on a new TV. So we got our TV set up right here. The other thing, you need a Super Nintendo. And this TV is so old that it requires one of the RF switches. And with the Super Nintendo Junior, you have to have one of these adapters because they don't have RF capability built in. The regular size Super Nintendos do. Then you take the sensor and plug it into Player 2 port on the Super Nintendo. Now that it's all set, I'm actually going to swap out to use a full-size Super Nintendo because this can output to 2 video sources at the same time. Then we'll grab the game and put that in here. Then we have our 6 AA batteries in place and our Devo gun. And the most important usage of this is to turn the lizard people living in the sewers back into the dinosaurs. And I'm sorry if you get that reference. So then on the known working one, turn the power on, make all the lights flicker in the house by turning this TV on, and turn the Super Nintendo on. Of course, put it to the correct channel. So this sensor up here, the only point of it, it doesn't actually work as knowing where you're aiming this. It's only to make it so this is wireless. Then when it's all set up, you just shoot the screen and then do target practice. So I'm resetting all that, going to put the batteries in the broken one, and I'll show you what that's doing. Okay, we have the broken one now. Go ahead and turn the power on that. And doesn't matter how many times I press the fire button aiming that way, it just does not register. Now the fun part, we get to dive in. You just push in on this center one to unlatch it so it will come off. It's very common for the old ones to not actually have their little eyepiece on there. You can still use this for aiming, but it just doesn't have that rubber part that rests up against the eye. Okay, then took the 6 batteries out of it. Fun part here, there are 14 screws that we need to take out. And you need kind of a longer screwdriver to be able to do it. Okay, so it's 12 Phillips screws, and then these 2 here are using the game bits. Okay, we have all the screws removed now. So start in the back. You can just kind of pull apart from the battery area and lift up all the way down. Oh, I think I already see what the issue is. So the back battery terminal has quite a bit of corrosion on it. And the front one's even worse. There's even like battery acid, dust, and everything all along in that area. So I'm thinking just a good cleaning will get this working. So what we'll do is just lift up this little piece of plastic, get our tweezers down in this area, and we will push this up and then pull that out of there. That does not look good. Definitely going to need a shot of alcohol here. 91% isopropyl. It's not for drinking. It is going to be for cleaning. Okay, we're going to start with a little scrub brush with a bunch of alcohol. See if we can get this cleaned up. Yeah, there's no quick release for these wires here, so that's why I haven't disconnected this from the rest of the assembly. Okay, then I'll work on the front part a bit. Okay, then take some Q-tips with isopropyl alcohol and just try to get some extra debris cleaned off of here, because that scrub brush breaks quite a bit loose. The front is definitely looking way better now. The back is still somewhat gross, but you can at least see things a bit better on there. Okay, we're going to have to run a few tests on here. Run a continuity test on here to make sure this is even functional. So on the ground, okay, it looks like all 4 of these little legs here are getting ground on them. And then let's try the positive side. Okay, positive's getting to the legs, but that's it. Okay, pulling out the big guns here. Going to put a little bit of deoxide on here to see if that makes a difference. Okay, we're going to go ahead and test this resistor out to make sure it's still good. I believe it's a 1 ohm resistor. This might be easier putting on a higher platform here. Okay, so the resistor does seem to be good still. So it's showing a 0.9 and a new 1 ohm one test at 0.9 also. So that resistor is still good. So I'm going to try to get the rest of this corrosion off right here and then resolder down this leg of the resistor. Okay, that leg's looking pretty good. I'm going to add a little solder to it. Bringing out all the tools right now. Okay, new plan on here. So I'm not actually able to get any solder to stick right there. I'm going to put some flux on here and actually remove that resistor. So I think there's just too much corrosion to actually get that part to work correctly. Okay, we will get this gunk soaked on up. Okay, we got that resistor out. Wow, everything just kind of shredded away at those spots. That's pretty gross. So I'm doing right now is prepping a couple spots, because this is not going to be as fun as I was hoping it'd be. Okay, so we have one positive and one negative pad all cleaned up. Then we have one more spot to get all cleaned up right here. So we'll start by adding some new solder to these 2 points on the top. I know through the corrosion it's maybe not that easy to see, but we have our positive and negatives that come into the board up here have fresh solder. And then our positive right here has fresh solder, and our negative right here has fresh solder. Then we're going to get a new wire hooked in place here. So I have the resistor in here, has wires out of each side. Just need to use the heat gun to kind of shrink that up on there. And then we'll finish getting this hooked up. Okay, and we'll get this cable hooked in place now. So that may not look the prettiest, but I will show you why I did the wire that way. So that wire was done this way because the way that this needs to go in this slot is like this. So we have the wire goes up the back of this so it stays in that little cubby area. Okay, and it looks like that feeds in there perfectly. Get a little bit of cleaning done in the battery area. Put our little plastic divider back on. Now that this part is done, we have to focus on the other part of the battery terminal. Just going to get our pliers in here and see if we can get that wedged out. There we go. Got it popped. It's going to come the rest of the way out of there. So this side doesn't look as bad, but this side's pretty gross. It's going to go through the same cleaning processes. Getting it all messy with this scrub brush here. That's already looking a lot better, so I think just going to take a Q-tip to get the rest of it cleaned up now. There's still some corrosion in here, so I have to scrape a lot of it out. If you are storing any of these old electronics for any period of time, make sure the batteries are out of them, because this is not a fun thing to have to take care of. And then treating it with some deoxit. So let me know in the comments what your favorite Super Scope 6 game is if you played them. There's a decent amount of games they made for it. I think Yoshi's Safari, that's probably my favorite. Kind of shiny and reflective, so it's not being picked up that well, but it's looking way better now. Now it's time to put this whole thing back together. That just slid right down in there. We have this all popped back together. I'll get all the screws in and then we'll do a quick test. The nice thing about putting this together is other than the 2 game bits there, all the other screws are the exact same sizes. Now to put the 6 batteries back in here. And now the power of the Super Scope. Yeah, it might help if I put the scope on the right side. Okay. Okay, got that. And let's do Blastress. Turn my mug off on there so you don't have to see me anymore. Oops, I have the aim wrong on here. Probably the angle that I was crouching. Restart it so I can get the aim correct. Okay, yeah, this is definitely working better. It's hitting every single time now. Oh, it's not getting the right side of the screen. That's not an issue with the device. It's probably where I am right now. Well, I hope that you find this helpful. If anything, at least make sure that all batteries are taken out of electronics that you're storing anywhere, because that can get pretty bad. If you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments. If there's anything you've done differently, also let me know that. Because there are multiple ways to fix something like this, but with how corroded it was, I wasn't going to leave it to just use the leads that were in there. I had to run my own cabling in there. Also, let me know in the comments what your favorite Super Scope 6 game is. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and do all that kind of fun stuff. I want to thank you for watching. Have a nice day.